All right, we are live. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. I know I am. Lots of interesting, fun news just dropped in on or dropped on my head this weekend, and of course today. So let us do some correct stuff here so you don't see all these crazy windows. Um, and let's get to it. I swear to you, as of right now, my plan is to make this a 30-minute show. Because I know a couple of you have mentioned that the shows were just a little too long for you. Um, Even though we cover a lot of information, you are looking at some shorter shows. So I am shooting for the 30 minutes. So here we go. Got a lot to talk about. My name is John. I'm with FMP Wargamers, and I'm here to bring you your Sunday weekend recap. All right, so let's talk about a few things. I know in the title, we're talking about Sisters of Battle, Sisters of Silence, Psychic Awakening, and some terrain for Warhammer 40,000. So before I jump into what you're seeing on the screen right now, sorry about the window. I've got a couple multiple windows open. I'm trying to make sure you can't see a source. I don't think you can, but I'm not gonna. Well, we'll see. Let's talk about Sisters of Silence. I mentioned to you guys a few weeks ago that, or actually ever since the Psychic Awakening thing has dropped, that we're probably going to see Sisters of Silence. I expected them to drop when the Sisters of Battle do, not in the same book, mind you, but that they were going to release around that same time. And we would see them sometime in November, maybe with a new unit, say a new HQ. I was a little wish listing there. And I'm glad I didn't, make any promises or anything, because this month, October, so next week, look at the date. Yeah, so next week, everybody should be getting their White Dwarfs, since Games Workshop has moved to this mid-month release. And the Sisters of Silence are getting an index update inside of that White Dwarf. Let me clear my throat. So they're going to get an update on everything that's been going on with them. They haven't had a real clear update. So nice lore update from the early beginnings to what's going on right now. And then my guess is what their place is in the Warhammer 40,000 universe during the Psychic Awakening. It'll probably just be a little tidbit, because I don't think GW really wants to reveal too much information just yet. But I imagine we're going to see a little bit, which will be, I think, pretty significant. And right now, they work alongside the Adeptus Custodes. Man, goodness. I apologize. They work alongside the Adeptus Custodes and the Sisters of Battle. With the Sisters of Battle, they mainly only operate on the black ships that will appear above worlds to collect their tithe of psychers. And those psychers are what go on to become like the battle psychers or the astropaths, or become Happy Meals for the Emperor, which this is perfect timing. So they're going to get an update in the rules, bring them a little bit more in line with what everybody's pretty much assuming. We are now in 8.5 Warhammer 40,000 since 8th edition launched in 2017. Yeah, 2017, I believe. So they're going to get the update in the rules, probably some points adjustments, and but I don't think they're going to get new models. We might see a kit released, and it might be just a nice update. My guess is that with this 8.5 wave, that they are going to turn around and, or my hope is that they're going to go ahead and add Sisters of Silence this time around to the Adeptus Custodes. So now that Games Workshop has sold and got people locked in on those Adeptus Custodes, and the focus has been on all those new units, all those new model kits, the books, everything, now they can slide the Sisters of Silence into there, make them a part of that army. I'm hoping. I really am. Because I don't think they're going to go the route of the Warhammer Legends, because they're not that style. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about in this regards? something about the Psychic Awakening. I got about three things to talk about with the Psychic Awakening. The first thing is the Emperor gets fed about 1,000 psychers a day. I think that number is kind of ambiguous, or not, 100% accurate, as we see sometimes with old lore, which that is an old bit of lore that they have essentially copied and pasted, but have never elaborated on over the decades that Games Workshop has been putting out for Warhammer 40,000 material. So it seems to me a little high, maybe 1,000 a week. He's one hungry boy. If he's eating, I can understand he's like the most powerful psychic out there, so I could understand that. So we're just going to at least operate right now on the 1,000 a day until they update that lore, which I could see them doing. It's open enough that that they can play with it. It's malleable. They can tweak it and up the numbers, down the numbers, and even if they even want to give us some sort of more accurate accounting. Now, the reason why this is significant and why this might play into the whole Psychic Awakening, since the Horus Heresy, well, actually, I'll get to that in just a second. The Emperor chows down on 1,000 psychers a day as of right now, according to the lore. Well, there's not a lot of psychers coming from the other half of the galaxy. Now, I keep in mind, I believe we're on the western arm of the Milky Way galaxy. That's where everything is taking place. So half the galaxy has been torn in half during the Dark Imperium because of that Imperium Nihilus, right? So that's like going out get something to eat, and half your town, or more than half your town, let's just say half your town, is all the restaurants and grocery stores and Buc-ee's and everything has closed down. Now you only have half your available resources available to you. So he's not getting as many Happy Meals as he was before. So how is this going to tie into the whole Psychic Awakening when he can't get his, is there going to be basically a food shortage for the Emperor? Is he not going to be getting his Psychic Happy Meals anymore? Or, is it going to be, hey guys, we have to kind of give him out a little bit at a time. You're going to have to ration the Emperor. He's getting a little thick there because he's got way too many. 1,000 a day is just ridiculous. I don't know why we've been doing this the whole time. I don't even know where we're getting all these psychics. So that could be something to come into play. Watch for it. As soon as I have a tidbit of information about that, I'm definitely going to go down and slap that on online here so you guys can hear about it first. That's a theory. There's nothing to work with, but it's one of those that I think has it's plausible, especially with how devastating the events of the Dark Imperium and the erupting of the warp and the Eye of Terror and everything, splitting the universe or the galaxy in half. I think that there's a significant issue there. Now it comes into part 2, and this is more about Psychic Awakening. Now, a couple days ago, got a little bit of information. I tried to listen in to the podcast that Games Workshop does, and I've told you guys before, listen to their podcast. They always have a schedule up on Warhammer, twitch.tv/Warhammer, and they've got a schedule on there. And this last week, they mentioned they actually sat down with one of the writers for the Psychic Awakening. Now, he said one of the first things, I'm going to paraphrase a whole bunch because my handwritten notes have disappeared. I think I left them at work, but it's still fresh in my mind from a couple days ago. So the Psychic Awakening has been in development for close to 2 years now. He said about 2 years. So a little bit before, a little bit after. So it's been in development for a while. So that gives you an idea that, they didn't just drop down 8th edition, the Dark Imperium on us and go, okay, well, what do we go from here? They are very good at planning this stuff out. Like the Horus Heresy, when that first dropped, they had that thing initially planned all the way to 2014, and which was supposed to be the Siege of Terra. But the popularity of Horus Heresy and the way that the miniatures were selling, the game books, and the novels were selling. People were just gobbling up all this ancient history, basically 10,000 years prior history to what we're doing right now. They have gobbled it up. So they just kept cranking out books. And we're just now finally in I think it's 8 books. We're on book number 2 of the last 8 for the series. At least the final siege of Terra, when we all know what happens with the Emperor and Horus and Sanguinius and everybody else involved. So it's going to be a bit emotional for some people, I think. So what does this have to do with the psychic awakening? Well, as they talked about in this podcast, is that since a little bit before, let's just say, I'm going to say a couple thousand years prior to the Great Crusade and the Emperor sending all of his boys out there to conquer the galaxy, and then up to the Horus Heresy, there was essentially an explosion of psychic potential going out there amongst humanity. And in the 10,000 years since the Horus Heresy, the number of human psychics has expanded, or has become pretty much exponential. As you can see with, I mean, if we're doing 1,000 psychers a day to feed the Emperor, think about how many there are in the galaxy, or in our arm of the galaxy, and how many they keep doing, and how many keep popping up to become librarians or join the Space Marine librarians, or they become Grey Knights or astropaths, and then renegade psychers and warlocks, all that stuff. Think about how there's just this exponential increase in the psychic potential. Now, dial that back and think about what happened with that, kind of coincided with humanity and the Eldar, when I think that's when Old Night happened, the Age of Darkness or whatever, or before Age of Darkness, when humanity was cut off from the stars, from each other, before the Emperor came. The Eldar gave birth, and remember, the Eldar are the premier psychic race in the galaxy right now, and they basically inadvertently gave birth to Slanesh, the one of the chaos gods, one of the chaos demon lords, whatever you want to call them, that created the Eye of Terror and sent a psychic shockwave through the galaxy that really disrupted everything. So see what they did as a full psychic race, and there are probably, we think about 1,000 a day. Let's see if I could, goodness, get a calculator up here. 1,000 a day at current standard times 365. Oops. That is going to be one hell of a lot of psychers that the Emperor is chowing down on every day. So 365,000 psychers a year that he is going through. That's human psychers, mind you. And take that times 1,000 years, and we're looking at 365 million. Take that times another, what would that be? Another, goodness. Take that times 10. There we go. So he has consumed, basically, in 10,000 years history of time in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, nearly 4 billion psychers. 4 billion psychers. That's half of our current Earth population. That is a population of several of the worlds in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, or just in the Spire. So we're getting to this point, and they talked about this in that podcast, is that humanity is rushing forward uncontrolled. They really don't have any control over the birth of the psychers. And now that the Imperium Nihilus has happened, and we're going into the psychic awakening, there is a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of terror and fear, because there's so many human psychers being born now. And with this huge psychic rift, it's basically all screwed up. And keep in mind that before the Eldar and the humans and all that jazz, there were the old ones. I've talked about that about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The old ones, which I think they are going to be the ones coming back. They're going to be the big bad of this. The old ones, they basically, their psychic potential, what they did, and when they created the Eldar and a couple other races, they took what they did with the warp, their battle versus the Necrontyr or the Necrons before they became Necrons, and the Satan essentially gave birth to the Chaos Gods and everything. So we can see how this huge the potential of these psychic species, what they do to the universe and to the galaxy and the small scale. So we're heading towards something very cataclysmic. I mean, and we've already talked about that, because they said not. I mean, the Horus Heresy, the Battle of Cadia, all this stuff has been nothing but border skirmishes, child's play compared to what's coming. So that's very telling, and it's a little terrifying when you think about, from the lore perspective. It's very terrifying of what's going to happen. So a couple other things they talked about is that, once again, every race is going to be getting something for this. It looks like he didn't go as far as saying that, hey, we're going to give a race, each faction a miniature, but everybody's going to get something, and that's going to appear in these books, like the first book that we're going to talk about in just a minute. So it's a little bit more comforting to hear it verbally instead of just reading it in text, because now we have more confirmation that everybody's getting something. So let's get on to this next part. I know that's not much, but let me get to the Sisters of Battle. I already talked about Sisters of Silence, the little bit of Psychic Awakening news that I had, and I'm probably going to find my notes, and on the Tuesday show, if there's something that I missed, which I feel like there was, I'm gonna have to cover it on the Tuesday show. I apologize for that. That's very bad on me to do that. I thought I had it, and now that I think about it, I know exactly where it's sitting. So I'm really sorry, guys and gals. So let's get to this next part. So Sisters of Battle. We know Sisters of Battle coming next month. We don't know exactly what that's going to entail. Let me get on the right screen here. All right. Why can't... Sorry. Let me get a good screen there. I just want to be able to look at something. There we go. All right. So you're seeing that, and I'm seeing the thing that I need to see. So this popped into my inbox today, and it is basically what we're going to... Sorry, you're seeing my... cursor move around here is because I've got a second window open so I could read off this information that was sent to me. So what we're seeing right here, and unfortunately I wish I would have done what I told you guys I was going to do, where I was going to, as soon as I got information, I was going to jump on, do a quick show, because I can already tell I'm going to probably be over my 30 minutes. I got 12 minutes to go, only a couple things to talk about, so we'll see. But I really wish I would have not waited, because as soon as I sat on this information, I went into work, and I got a notification that somebody that I watch online, actually have conversed with a few times. We shared information, or not shared information, but we conversed with a couple times. He already did a video on this, and I was just, I don't think he had the picture. I haven't watched the video, but he talked about it. So I'm showing you guys a picture of what was sent to my inbox today. What you're seeing here, as I take a breath, is the supposed, and I would say it's very accurate. I think somebody just tagged that Warhammer 40,000 logo in there. I don't think it's that's the actual image that they're pushing out. But it could be. So what we're seeing here is the Sisters of Battle box set. So let's see here. Trying to think how I do this. Here we go. All right. So we have the normal little booklet here that shows you how to build them all. We can't quite see the details. I'm sorry. They didn't give me a better quality picture. An obligatory 18-page rule book. It'd be interesting if this rule book has any changes, FAQ changes. That'd be very interesting to see. There's all of our bases. Looks like a decal sheet. There's this little thing down here at the bottom. I'm not sure what that is. Let me check my other window. Oh, no. That could be more decals. I am not sure. That is really odd. I'm going to try to figure out what that is. Anyway, so it looks like, and 2 sets of cards, because remember that this Sisters of Battle or Army starting box, or whatever they're going to be calling it, is going to include the rule book, the miniatures, and these handy dandy cards. And it looks like, if you've noticed, that they've been putting these probably about 18 by 12 prints in there, like on stiff cardboard. So it's really cool, and I'm hoping it has that one Sisters of Battle logo that I showed you guys before, the cover art for the box set. I'm hoping that'll be on there. So there's our codex. It looks like you're going to get, if you buy the box, you're going to get the snazzy, probably collector's edition. I doubt that that's the not collector's edition, but deluxe edition. Probably not the collector's edition. That one's probably going to be, I'm going to bet, about $200. It's going to come with these 2 sets of cards here, which is probably your prayers, and then your stratagems. And that'll come with that, and these cards, probably a box that they fit into. It'll probably have like purity seal on it, magnetic box that the lid closes. Probably get a whole bunch of coins, probably a couple A4 size card art, probably about the size of like an instruction pamphlet. That's my guess. I'm 100% guessing here, guys. I'm going to be over to 30 minutes, but I'm going to keep it. We're almost done here. So looks like two separate sprues and then one big sprue. And there's all your for your Sisters of Battle, your flyers for your Seraphim. So here is what was passed to me about what the contents is. Because remember, there were a couple things we didn't know what was going to be in it. So here's what we've got. One Canoness, which we already knew. The Mistress of Repentance, we already knew that as well. We saw the 4 Sister Repentia. The 5 Seraphim, and that's one of the things we weren't sure about. Was it 5? Was it 10? So it looks like it was 5 Seraphim. 10 Sisters of Battle is another one we weren't 100% sure on, because they showed multiple images. My guess is, looking at some of those images, going back and reviewing the video, looks like that set will come with multiple, probably multiple special weapons. So probably a flamer, melt-a-gun, and a stormbolter as the special weapons, which means that basic sister squad, when it comes out in its own box, it's probably going to be a dual box for the Sisters of Battle Celestians or Dominions, one of those two, and then regular Battle Sister Squad. And then one of those other two, either Celestians or Dominions, will get their own box. I always get the two mixed up, which one is supposed to be the super fancy ones, like super elite veterans. The other one's like a special weapon squad. And then, of course, the Penitent Engine, which are probably, you got that large base. And then the one thing that I did not see in the video that maybe, and I'll have to go back and watch for like the 20th time, is 3 Archoflagellants. Not flagellants or flatulence, flagellants. If you're not familiar with them, they're the escaped prisoners, they're the prisoners that end up getting a whole bunch of drug things stuck into their spine and skulls. Very similar to the Penitent Engines. They get usually like whips, electro whips or neural whips and everything, or all sorts of combat accessories added to their arms, and they basically somebody with a controller, control words, attack, and they go crazy. They shrug off wounds. Not that they're superhuman like Wolverine or anything, but so much combat drugs in them. They ignore pain. They don't care about that. They just want to go up and kill. So that's a pretty potent box. And we knew it was going to be about 25 models. So yeah, it'll be 25 models. See, that's 9, 10, 12, 15, 25. Yep, 25 models, a codex, dual sets of cards. So your prayer cards and your stratagem cards, and bunches of decals, and whatever this thing is here at the bottom, I still can't figure that out. I'm not going to stress about it. So that's what you're going to be getting if you are able to see it. As soon as I got a better image, ladies and gents, I'm going to get it to you. I sent an email back to see if they've got a crisper picture, or if they got any more, if they can just send it back or send it to me as soon as possible. So very cool. I'm very excited about this. I know some of you are. Especially, it's man, I tell you what, it's a hard time right now because we got all this fantastic Space Marine stuff coming. We have all this amazing Sisters of Battle stuff coming, and on top of that, they just announced, and we talked about this last week, that mid-October, that we were going to probably mid to late October, we're going to see our Salamanders, Imperial Fist, and then the first of the Psychic Awakening books. And sure enough, so not yesterday, but this coming Saturday, we're going to have our pre-order for the Psychic Awakening. I'm not going to play the video because I want to keep this time down. So Blood of the Phoenix is the first, you know what? I think this is the first box set that does not involve Imperium whatsoever. That's pretty amazing. You're welcome. Xenos players, you're welcome. Holy crap. So this box set is going to go on pre-order this week. I imagine $150 to $160. And as usual, probably about around $350 worth of miniatures in there. So what's going to be in the box? If you really want to hear about, I'll show you a picture here again. The designers, they have this video here. It's about 3 minutes long. You can listen to the game designers and several of the authors of the numerous Eldar books that collaborated on the whole Psychic Awakening. Psychic Awakening. I'm glad I thought about this now. That was another thing, is that when they started developing this whole storyline for 8th edition and on, the Eldar are basically the natural choice to start this. They're the natural launching point for this whole Psychic Awakening. They are not the linchpin. They're not the most important feature of this, but they are the natural starting point. So really, it started with Yurvain and the Yanari and all that jazz, and then the progression into 8th edition, and now it's the Psychic Awakening. So it started late 7th edition with Return of Gilliman and the Rise of the Yanari into 8th edition. And that's part of the storyline, is that there's a lot of craziness going on, and there's, like we said, civil war, which I don't even know if it's a civil war, but I guess they're all Eldar and they're fighting each other, so it is civil war, whatever. Some of the key components we're not seeing here right now is your vein, which I doubt is going to get a new model. We're going to know that they're going to have updated rules for sure, and then there's some Slanesh being or creature that is chasing after your vein, and the Yanari leaders like the Visark and whatever Yanid, I think is the name. I might be butchering these names, I apologize, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about this box set. I'm gonna increase the size here so you guys can see. You know what, let me go ahead and just do this so you can really see. Oh nope, you're still seeing my ugly mug there. So let's just shrink this down. There we go. You're getting a box of Scourges, Hellions, a box of Hellions. You're getting a Venom, a box of the new Drukhari, Incubi, and Drazir, whatever you say his name. 5 Howling Banshee box, the Jane Zier box, a Wave Serpent or a Grav Falcon? Grav Falcon. I think that's what it's called. I don't know Eldar too much. I'm really sorry, guys and gals. And then the Eldar Viper. It looks a little... initially, I would say it's a little lopsided, battle-wise. And what's interesting is that there's no troop choices there. But then again, these boxes aren't necessarily supposed to give you a full starting army. It's a narrative feel. It's really a chance for them to get you to buy this box. So if you want these new models initially, you need to buy the Blood of the Phoenix box. I suspect, and I'll know tomorrow actually. Yeah, I'll know tomorrow. So Tuesday show, I'll let you know. I'm betting in this initial release, the only way you're going to be getting these new models here, these 5 Incubi, the 5 Howling Banshees, Jane Zar and Drazir, is here for approximately 4 to 6 months. Probably, I'm going to push probably 6 months before you can get them. These two in a clam pack and these two boxes in their own individual boxes. So don't wait. But wait till Tuesday. I'll have the information. I'll know 100% if they're going to be separate box initially or what. My guess, as following Games Workshop's history of releases like this, we're looking at 4 to 6 months before they get their individual boxes. I'm sorry. I don't have any proof of that yet, but just be aware that that is very likely going to happen. So now we get to get a good solid look at the Howling Banshees. We know that the X-Arc that comes in the box, and I don't know if you have to make the X-Arc out of every box, because what if you want 10? I don't know if you can go to 10 Howling Banshees. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. I imagine probably up to 10, because that's a great marketing thing. You'll have to buy 2 boxes to get your 10. We'll see. We know that there's a different weapon options and different head options there. It doesn't look like different poses, but you know what? You're getting your plastic Howling Banshees, your first of your plastic Aspect Warriors. Congrats. Will you be getting more? No idea. No idea. We'll see in the future. There's your Incubi. Same thing. We know that the Incubi leader, I forget what they're called, Hierarch or Heliarch, can has 2 different weapon options. And I mean, these guys don't look too much different from the, some new snazziness, putting them in line with the other plastic models. But they don't look too different from the Finecast one, except they're nice plastic. So yay, cool. Take note of the Jane Czar mask. I really like it. I like the whole aesthetic. We've already talked about this. You've seen it for the past couple weeks, so I'm not going to dwell on this too much. This is going to be a fantastic model just to get and paint, but we're not going to talk too much about that. And same thing with Drazar. I think that's his name. Really cool. I don't know how I feel about how he's wielding the blades, but whatever. It's Eldar buffoonery. Sorry, Eldar players. Okay, so nice solid look at him, and it's very interesting. He's got the runes. He's got a bunch of soul stones, as we know that the Dark Eldar don't normally have soul stones and all that stuff, and they're more terrified of getting sucked into Slaanesh. That's why they do all their power from pain stuff and torturing and murder and all that jazz. So we got a 40-page campaign book. Big surprise, not really. It's going to have a couple Echo of War missions, or a few Echo of War missions, some narrative stuff, and new rules for Jane Czar and Drazar. So that's cool. And we know that these two are going to pop up in this sucker, the 80-page book for the Phoenix Rising. This right here, I believe, is the deluxe version of the book. We know that there's going to be a book. There's going to be a regular book, a deluxe edition, and a collector's edition, enhanced and an enhanced EPUB version. So the reason why I said earlier about taking note of the mask here, man, she looks like a frickin' goblin, like a goblin queen. And then, I mean, really. You tell me if I'm wrong. She looks like a goblin queen there. I really love the art. Fan-frickin-tastic. But then you come up here to her miniature, and I know it's the difference between art, and you could probably paint in some sunken cheeks and all that jazz, but one looks like a banshee mask, the other one looks like a gosh darn goblin queen. I don't know. So anyways, that book's coming out. It's an 80-page book, so expect that to be probably around $30 to $40 for the regular book. Probably $80 to $90 for the deluxe collector's edition. Oh, there's a deluxe. Okay, so this is the deluxe collector's edition. I apologize. One hardback and the deluxe collector's edition, and then EPUB and enhanced digital formats. If you get the collector's edition, as you'll read here, you get a 16-page background material in there of never published or won't be available in print anywhere else. if you really want to know this information now, get it. Get the collector's edition book. We're going to be taking orders for that at the Atomic Hobby Shop once it's available. And if not, they say it won't be available anywhere else. They're right. Until probably about a year later, and then those 4 short stories are going to pop up in a anthology book. That's a Games Workshop thing, but you're looking at it 1 to 2 years down the road. So we're almost there. We're almost done, and we're doing fairly good on time. We might actually do this at 45 minutes. 2 theaters of war, Echo of War mission type things. They got going on High Altitude and Maiden World, whatever that is going to be. Data sheets for all the new miniatures from Blood of the Phoenix. So if you didn't get the box, but somehow you managed to get the models, or you didn't get that Blood of the Phoenix box, but you happen to get Jane Czar and Drezar, you will be able to have the rules in this book. And as well as data sheets for a number of key characters and units from the narrative, from the Phoenix Rising. So that's going to be key information there that we're going to have an idea of. I think we're going to have that Harlequin I talked about, Sky Weaver or Sky Liner, I don't know, Sky Sailor, Sailor Moon, whatever her name was. The Harlequin that is kind of dancing around behind the scenes. She's the one that helped Marnius Calgar fight Magnus on the moon, and has been communicating with the Inquisitor that we've seen in 2 videos now of the Psychic Awakening. She's the one that's communicating with them. So I'm betting her information is going to be in there, or at least a little bit of a name dropping. Then what's going to be really interesting, ladies and gents, is there are loads of new rules and abilities for the Eldar and the Drukhari. Astronomy, whatever. An entire Codex expansion worth of content. That is huge. It's not just, so it doesn't mean that, hey, here's a new rule. No, you're getting an entire Codex expansion's worth of content. New Exarch powers for each aspect temple. And we already knew that there's going to be 6 for the Howling Banshees. So that means that each of those temples are very likely going to be getting 6 for each of the Exarch powers. A 3rd psychic discipline in the Runes of Fortune. So a whole new psychic discipline. New customizable craft world attributes. This is going to work like the successor tactics, as it says right there, like the Space Marines. You'll also find rules for Drukhari obsessions, for Witch Cults, Homunculus, Cabal, and the full set of Ynnari rules first featured in May issue of White Dwarf, which may or may not be the exact print. They could be updated with extra rules or new rulings, so something to pay attention to. So it doesn't look like Harlequins are going to have a big part to play in this book. I think they're going to be dancing around, no pun intended, the orbit or around, but they're not going to have rules. So this is really cool, and this is one of the things I'm going to be rounding up on here because I'm almost done. The craft world attributes are going to work like the successor tactics. So now you're going to be able to customize. If you watch that video, they'll talk about it. You're going to be able to customize your very own armies with like the Space Marine Codex. You have about 20 successor tactics. If you don't want to use the main first founding chapter tactics, or any of the kind of follow ones like the Emperor Spears or Blood Ravens or the Black Templar, you can actually pick 2 and really customize your craft world. So I think you might find something very unique in there. Also, with the Drukhari obsessions and for all that, I think this book's going to be really good. It's going to be a must-have for all of you Eldar, your Ynnari, or Craft World Ynnari, and Drukhari, maybe Harlequin, I don't know, players out there. So I would snag it, get the enhanced version, or come into like where I work at the Atomic Hobby Shop, get the collector's edition, because it's probably going to be very badass. It's going to come with probably some amazing extra little knickknacks and stuff in there, the little collector stuff that you guys like to get, and of course that 80-page book with all this extra material in it for 3 different armies, it looks like, total. Mainly, it's going to be the Craft World and the Drukhari. I don't know how the Inari fit in there, but we know that they're going to be involved in that. So, once again, we know that, there we go. So, Craft World attributes, Witch Cult obsessions, Homunculus Coven obsessions, and Cabal obsessions. You're going to get everything. So, probably a couple pages worth of material there for everybody. So it's going to be a good book. Is it going to put any of the Eldar or Drukhari or Inari on a playing field, even playing field with the current Space Marine like the Iron Hands? I don't know, guys. Iron Hands are going to have their very brief heyday after 2 years of not having anything, and same thing with the Raven Guard. Right now, Space Marines are going to enjoy a couple glorious months of rise to power before they get some extra adjustments. We already saw one adjustment, like you can't take successor chapters and use the Codex Supplements main characters with those. So I couldn't take my very unique custom chapter I'm doing right now, my successor chapter. I can't put the Iron Father in it. So I imagine that there's going to be a lot more coming down the line. There's a little bit of some weird rules interpretations. I imagine there's going to be some adjustments. You guys will notice I'm not saying nerf. It's a silly word. It has no. I know it's an easy way to say that they're doing the adjustments, but it kind of breeds a very angry sentiment, either coming from the person that's getting nerfed, or the person that's hoping they get nerfed. I mean, that creates some animosity, creates some anger. Even if it's just barely under the skin, surface level there. Because that's why it's easier to say there's going to be an adjustment. It's a more positive, more neutral sounding word. They're going to get an adjustment. Will they put them on par with, or will the Eldar be on par? I don't know. Right now, it's Space Marines' time to shine. And then probably mid to late November, or come chapter approved time, it'll drift off. And the next hot thing might be even November with the Sisters of Battle drop. Then everybody will be like, oh my god, I've always loved playing Sisters of Battle, for the whole 2 weeks that I've owned stuff. So, or, Eldar might all of a sudden pop up with this book, might just be what breaks this very temporary rise in power and popularity of the Space Marines. So we'll see. So with that said, I am at 50 minutes, so I'm under an hour. I'm over my 30 minutes. There was a lot to talk about. I'm really sorry. As soon as I have some more information about that Sisters of Battle, I already showed you guys the picture of the contents of the box. I already told you about the contents. As soon as I get some additional pictures of the frames, which is what I'm aiming for, I will get that information for you. Once again, I did not get my Imperial Fist information this week, or this weekend. It's probably going to be next weekend. I'm sorry, I really am. I'm really pushing for it. I usually have it by now, so I don't know what's going on, but I can't push too much because people are being very kind by providing me this information, with great risk to losing their job or getting in trouble, whatever. So I've got to be very careful. I really want it, but I don't want people to lose their job. I've said it before. All right. I've rambled on enough. I really appreciate you all watching. I'm going to get this uploaded to YouTube. And if you guys are on YouTube, or if you want to come back on a comment on here later, you got questions, you want to call me out on stuff, do it, and I'll see the notification. Until then, my name is John. I'm with FNP Wargamers, and I will... Oh, actually, we had 44 minutes. Got 2 different timers going. I'm sorry. I'm John with FNP Wargamers, and I will talk to you Tuesday. Hopefully, I will have Sisters of Battle for you. You all have a very good weekend. Be safe. Enjoy your Monday. Don't let it be a case of the Mondays. Just start your week off right. Enjoy that Monday. It's going to be a great day. I'm telling you.